You ever have that feeling where you completely understand a problem in your life, you can see it clearly, but you're still totally stuck in the feeling of it? Well, today we're going to explore that exact journey, the one from just being aware to finding what you might call absolute unshakable freedom. And this quote right here, this is our jumping off point. It hints at a kind of freedom that goes way deeper than simple self-awareness. You know, it's one thing to realize you're a player in a big game, but it's a whole other level to be able to walk away from the board at any time without being terrified of losing all the pieces you fought so hard to collect.
And that brings us to this really fascinating inner conflict that I think a lot of us can relate to, the awareness paradox. It's that strange feeling of having total clarity about your situation, but still feeling completely trapped by the stress of it all.
So here's what that internal split looks like. On one hand, you've got clarity. You know deep down that you are more than your job, more than your family role, more than your identity. But on the other hand, there's this conflict because that exact same role is creating real pressure and turbulence inside of you. You see the cage, but you still feel the bars.
So this is the big question, right? If you know it's all just a game, why does it still hurt so much to lose? Why does the pressure to win still feel so real, so heavy? Honestly, figuring out the answer to this is the key to unlocking a much, much deeper kind of freedom. And the answer really comes down to this: the sheer weight of our identity. It's about how a role we're supposed to be playing slowly turns into a heavy burden that we feel like we have to carry everywhere. This has a name: the remaining insecurity. And it's not the kind of insecurity you feel when you don't know who you are. It's way more subtle than that. It's the insecurity that hangs around even after you have clarity, simply because you're still attached to this identity you've worked so hard to build.
And this is the absolute crucial shift in perspective. Think about it for a second. When you're just playing a role, whether it's at work or at home, you can be passionate, you can be sincere. But the moment you start protecting it, that's when it becomes a source of fear and anxiety.
So why do we feel this deep need to protect our identity? Well, because we've invested our lives in it. Our whole sense of self-worth gets tangled up in its success. The world recognizes us through that identity, and we get our validation from how it's reflected back at us. It's no wonder it starts to feel so incredibly heavy.
And boom, that's the paradox in a nutshell. You could be sitting in quiet meditation, totally aware that you are not your job title, but that internal pull of the identity, that pressure to perform, to maintain it, can still feel completely overwhelming.
Okay, to really get a handle on this, let's use a powerful analogy that makes this whole idea crystal clear: the sports person's last chain. This really helps us visualize that final, super stubborn attachment we all tend to have.
So just picture an elite, world-class athlete, someone who has sacrificed, well, pretty much everything for decades, dedicating their entire life to one single thing: being the best. For them, their identity and their performance are basically one and the same. But of course, that's not their only identity. I mean, like all of us, they're more complicated than that. They might also be a parent, a sibling, a deep thinker. In their quiet moments, they might even connect with a sense of just being a human being, totally separate from all their wins and losses. But with all that self-awareness, why? Why does that one specific role, the sports person, still have such an iron grip on them? Why is it the final, heaviest chain that keeps them bound?
Well, it's because of the incredible weight tied to that one role. It represents their entire life's work, their total investment of self. It's the source of all their fame and recognition. It's how the world sees them, and maybe most importantly, it becomes how they see themselves. It's the one identity they feel they have to protect at all costs.
So how do you break that final chain? This brings us to the ultimate solution, the final threshold: finding freedom within life, not by trying to escape from it.
And this, right here, is what that real freedom looks like. It's a state where your sense of self is just no longer dependent on any role. So if the role continues, great, you play it with everything you've got. But if it ends tomorrow, you remain completely whole. Absolutely nothing of your true self has been lost.
And when you get to this place, all those heavy chains just fall away. The constant need for achievement, the fear around your reputation, the anxiety about your legacy, poof, it all just dissolves. Even the weight of all your past efforts is gone. You are simply and freely right here, right now.
Now, it is so important to understand what this freedom is not.
This isn't about rejecting the world or withdrawing from life. No, it's the exact opposite. True freedom is about participating fully in life, but without all that internal pressure. It's playing any role with your whole heart and then being able to release it without a single trace of fear.
So what's left when all that baggage is gone? It's just a beautiful simplicity. You still act, you still create, you still engage with the world. But now, there's no burden to carry, no fear of losing anything, and no anxiety about what the future holds.
And that really is the heart of it all. The goal was never to get away from life. It's about finding total freedom right in the middle of it all. It's the ability to step away from the game at any moment, not because you're losing, but simply because you can, without an ounce of fear.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What's that one cherished role in your own life that you find yourself protecting all the time instead of simply playing? Finding the answer to that? Well, that might just be the key that unlocks your own absolute freedom.